everyone, Lou here. Man, it's been a while since I've done a tier list, hasn't it? So today I thought it'd be fun to do a tier list for Love in Deepspace. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, Lou, there's only 5 love interests in Love in Deepspace. Why would you do a tier list? That's not enough characters. Well, it gives me an opportunity to yap because I love this game so much. And the only other thing I could think about doing a video on, because a lot of people beat the lore videos to the punch for me, is basically doing a fun little tier list like this. I would have done like, I don't know, cards or something, or memories, I guess they're called in game. But I thought it would be more fun to talk about the love interests individually, rather than talk about each individual design card and just kind of like talk about them overall. Also, if you can't tell, this video is very unscripted because I like to do my tier lists unscripted because it feels more natural that way and I get to yap more. I should also mention that none of the love interests here are bad or poorly written. They are all wonderfully written. Just because I have a low view of a love interest, it does not mean that I think they are poorly written. They are brilliantly written. It's just they're not my type, or they're not the kind of character I would personally go for. You know what I mean? Alright, let's get started. So first, we have our boy Xavier here. He was the first love interest, or the main love interest that is often advertised for the game, or the one I felt was advertised the most when the game first released, and was kind of the reason I put off Love in Deepspace when it first dropped, because Xavier is just not my type. I'll be honest, I was looking very, very respectfully at his king outfit, or his king myth, but other than that, I feel like he's not personally my type, mostly because I'm already a very introverted person, and I feel like if I was in a room with someone like Xavier, it would just be very, very, very awkward. Both of us just sitting in silence without much to talk about. But he is very handsome, and I do think he has a cute charm to him. He's just not somebody I would personally sit here and like go for, but like I said, very, very handsome and very well written. I love that Xavier is a play on the self-sacrificing trope, and I love to see that you know, he's growing into developing his own identity, other than his identity being I must save main character. Because for those who don't know, which, I mean, pretty obvious this video is going to talk about major spoilers, but like I said, in my review I said all these guys, you know, had a past with the main character, and Xavier's is that he met her when she was a very sickly high schooler, and they both fell in love, and they wanted to watch Shooting Stars together, and she unfortunately passed away, I think, before she could do that. And so this grief and guilt that he wasn't able to fulfill the wish of the girl he loved, like, really fucks him up. And it's even worse when you go further back in his myths and you see, like, how they both died together as king and queen and stuff like that. So, you know, it's a lot of like guilt because he couldn't save her, and she keeps dying over and over again, so he feels at this point like, I have to sacrifice myself to save her, otherwise she's just gonna keep dying. And I am curious to see where this is gonna go when the plot goes deeper and deeper and deeper, because I want to see Xavier kind of grow into his own person and learn that, like, he can't always be the hero boy. He can be sleepy boy, and that's okay. But like I said, he's not my type, if that makes sense, but he is very well written. So like I said, he is not bad, just not my type. But he is cute. So I'll put Xavier here. He's kind of mid, I guess. Counting all his lore and stuff like that, I guess he is mid, pretty much. Which, that sounds bad, but it's not the writing. It's just not my type. I feel Raphael lately has gotten the most advertisements, because whenever I, like, put on, you know, whenever I get an ad for Love in Deepspace on my phone, it's always, and I mean always, Merman Raphael myth. And I believe Also, when I get what I call the BDSM myth, whenever I get that too, it's always Raphael. So it's like, it's weird because my phone history should know Raphael is not my type. And it's not because Raphael is badly written. I actually think Raphael's a very sweet character. Like, he's the type of person he's less the type of person I could picture myself having a fat ass crush on, and more the kind of person, like, I would be friends with. Does that make sense? He's the type of guy where it's like you meet him and he just brings out the best in everybody. He's the type of guy who you play video games with and like have a great time at the arcade, but like you don't fall in love with him. He's just, I hate to say it, but I think I friend-zoned Raphael. And it's not because he's poorly written. He is not. A lot of his story is about grief and clinginess, and he is bratty because of his past lives. Well, I guess not really past lives because it's a little confusing, but I don't think he ever died. Unlike, you know, Xavier, Zayn, Silus, and Caleb, like, I think Raphael's the only one who has never died. I believe he is still the same mergod from, like, the myth, so yeah, that's wild, isn't it? So, because, you know, he's an immortal mergod who's, you know, seen the same girl he loves dies over and over and over again, like, it's caused a lot of grief for him. I mean, if you think about it, all these guys struggle with grief in some capacity, but I feel like his is worse because, unlike the other guys, they didn't get to die and, like, reset, so to speak, and like get to have this new experience. Raphael's just living the same experience, so you know, it's a shame, really. And then it's also the fact that like when the main character is reincarnated, she doesn't remember anything, but Raphael does, so it's pretty sad, actually. The one thing I feel is not explained for any of the guys is who exactly remembers their past life and who doesn't. Personally, I always thought Zayn and Caleb don't. Xavier, I feel like he remembers, like, a large majority, but I honestly think Xavier doesn't remember the king stuff, because I feel like that doesn't, like, his character doesn't seem to have, like, the memories of that king, of his king myth. Just me, but anyway. So, Raphael's also very bratty, and I am personally not the type of person who would go for someone bratty. Maybe because I'm so easygoing, but I feel like that would get annoying after a while. And again, I don't think Raphael's annoying. I think he's a sweet character, but he's a sweet character, like, as a friend. Can you imagine, like, if you got to, like, at the very, very end of the game, and, like, whoever you had high affinity with, like, you confess your love to them, right? And whoever you had, like, lower affinity with, you had to turn them down. And imagine if you could just, like, friend zone some of these guys. Like, that would be so brutal, but hilarious, and I'm here for it. So, for me personally, I'm putting Raphael here, not because he's a badly written character. I think he is very sweet, and I think he's hilarious sometimes. But it's just, for me personally, like, seeing him as a love interest, like, it's hard to see him as a love interest. Does that make sense? Like, I see him more as, like, a friend to, like, hang out with and, like, have a good time with, but not to fall in love with. Next, we got one of the greenest flags. We're not at the greenest flag ever, but we are at green flag territory. That would be my man Zayn. I'm gonna be honest, if Silus didn't exist, Zayn would be my favorite. Absolutely, hands down. Fun fact, actually, I got one of my best friends into Love and Deepspace, and their favorite is Zayn. So, bestie, if you're watching this, you're welcome. Zayn, I feel, at first, I honestly was gonna put, when I first started the game, Zayn was a character I would have viewed the same as Xavier, where it's like, if we're in a room together, I would not be able to carry a conversation because I am personally very shy and a little awkward, so it would just be silence between us, right? But over time, as I've played this game, I realized that, like, a lot of people think Zayn is the cold asshole, but like, he really isn't. Like, for as much as the game tries to hammer in that Zayn is like this very cold person, outside of work, he is generally a very polite, nice person. Sure, you know, he's gonna be a little shy and a little awkward when you meet him at first, but like the second you start talking, I feel like he's the kind of guy who warms up and like you have like these fun little jabs together. He's also just generally very nice to kids too, so like, how can you say he's a cold-hearted person when you see he's generally very warm to kids, and it's heavily implied he like gives toys to the kids in the hospital that are there long term, and like, you know, helps the elderly eat in the hospital. Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of funny that like the game always tries to say Zayn acts hella cold and like, you know, stiff, but the reality is that like he's generally very warm and very sweet. I think if I met a guy like Zayn, I think we would just, I feel like he would be the kind of guy you sit there and like you nerd out for a good while anyway. Like, you're nerding out so much, you forgot how long you've been nerding out. And nerding out, like, yeah, he's mostly a nerd about medical stuff, but you could tell he's a nerd about everything, because when you play the claw machine and you get a plush toy with Zayn, he always spouts some kind of fact when you get the plush toy. Either that or a quick little sarcastic jab, which I love sarcasm too. It's sass, sarcasm, and teasing are like my love languages. So for me, Zayn, green flag. Also the fact that he's just generally like so loving and the just so romantic and absolute zeal. Oh boy, that had me like, whoa, Nelly. Some of Zayn's audio, by the way, oh my god. Like, I haven't talked about the audio dramas. I try not to, because, you know, I don't want to come across as a complete dork, but can I just talk about the secret times, by the way? The secret times for these guys? Like I said, I am generally, I don't see Raphael as someone to have the hots for. I have friend-zoned Raphael. I think we've established this many times. But their secret times, oh my god. Like, I heard the one for Raphael's 4-star merman. I have that one because I got it for free. And oh my god. They are not subtle about a lot of these, by the way. You think it's just, oh, you're giving Caleb a massage. No, you're not giving him a massage. Not the kind you're thinking anyway. Xavier's, I will admit, Xavier's king, secret times. I forgot. I can't remember the name of these, but the one for his king myth, the secret time for that one. I had, that was the one time I was hearing Xavier very respectfully, especially knowing that like his voice actor snuck in a curse there. Like, oh my god, dude, these people are not subtle when it comes to these secret times. And I feel like Zayn in particular is the biggest offender, because the game very subtly implies that Zayn, out of all the guys, does the boombayah the most with the main character. Like, just about every secret time or 5-star or something with Zayn, a large majority of them, Zayn is doing something spicy with the main character. Which, to be fair, I feel like he's kind of valid for that, because he gives touch-starved energy, and if you've read enough fanfiction like I have, and all that, then you know that, like, that's a trope that everybody loves, come on. And so, Zayn's are just like, oh my god, like, let's just say this man is giving checkups in places, very few doctors would give a checkup in, you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, Zayn, let's put him here, only because the S up there is for a reason, and I think we all know who the S is for. Oh, shit, that's right. Before, I should state, Zayn's myths. So, I feel like Zayn, in my personal headcanon, because I feel like the game has not... Dawnbreaker is different because that's, like, a completely different timeline for Zayn that is, like, separate from everything else. But main timeline Zayn, who is in a Lincoln city that is not destroyed, I personally think does not remember his past lives as the Foreseer and Master of Fate, but has like the trauma. Does that make sense? Like, Zayn, I think, has like this instinctual fear of loss of control because of his past life as the Master of Fate and Foreseer and possibly some kind of Hades figure. We don't have the answer to that yet. We've kind of had implications that Zayn might have been some sort of Hades figure in the past, but we've only had very subtle implications of that. So we don't know particularly what caused Foreseer to end up in the position he did. But personally, I think maybe his other past life as a possible Hades figure did something, and that's what caused Foreseer to be locked up and cursed and all that. Both Master of Fate and Foreseer ended up in situations that were out of their control due to fate, and so now Zayn has this fear of a loss of control, and it's a large thing with his character fearing loss of control, and that's generally probably why, like, logically his cards are the most spicy, is because he's learning to let go of that control and just, you know, not fearing himself, not fearing what he's gonna do, and just do it. You know what I mean? No, but I think it's very fascinating because, you know, as a creative person myself, I have a bit of, you know, every creative person can be a bit of a control freak, and, you know, it's nice to see a character who has that control freak trope, but portrayed in a way that's, like, you know, very calm and, like, it's okay to let go and lose control, so to speak. It's hard to explain, but I found Zayn's theme of, like, letting go of, like, your fears just, like, generally very, like, relatable. So yes, Zayn's writing I really love. Dawnbreaker is a whole other thing, a whole other animal, and it makes me fucking sad. For those who don't know, timey-wimey bullshit in Love and Deepspace. There's a timeline in which Lincoln City was destroyed, and Zayn became a person who kills people before they turn into monsters, but nobody knows that they're turning into monsters, so they treat Zayn like he's a harbinger of death, called Dawnbreaker. Like I said, completely different timeline. It is not part of the main story. It is a separate, like, alternate universe the main character steps in because timey-wimey bullshit. That is depressing. Classic info depression. I see. I recently got into Shining Nikki. A review for that is coming soon, by the way, and yeah, they sure do love their depression stories, don't they? And now we get to S. S for the man who deserves it. His name begins with an S. He is S tier. The man is so green you could call him Greenland, damn it. Silus. I love Silus. Silus is the entire fucking reason I picked up this game, okay? The moment Silus first dropped, I remember seeing, like, Twitter posts and TikToks about it from, like, the occasional person I followed who liked Love and Deepspace, and man, I was down bad. I've been down bad. I will continue to be down bad. I think part of the reason I love Silus so much is because he's such an easygoing person. Like, anything happens, and, like, the man is as cool as a cucumber. You know what I mean? Like, he never feels this... He never, unlike Zayn, who constantly fears a loss of control, Silus just rolls with the punches. And I guess for me, as someone with, who I've been but somewhat open about my own struggles with anxiety and all that in previous videos when I talk about characters with mental health struggles and all that, blah, 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 blah. Silus is a character who just feels very comforting to me, if that makes sense. A lot of people with anxiety I see like on TikTok and Twitter always say Silus is somewhat of a comfort character because of the fact that, like, you know, he rolls with the punches. He always is not one step ahead, but, you know, is very nonchalant, very calm. Like, if the main character is freaking out, Silus is like, it's whatever, just let it go, you know? An example, it's not a canon example, but an example could be like, let's say, like, oh no, I lost my luggage at the airport. Well, normally someone would be freaking the fuck out, and Silus is like, hey, it's whatever. Everything can be replaced. It's whatever. Here, let's just enjoy ourselves, you know? And I feel like that's a very... I know some people don't like that necessarily, and that's why Silus is not for everybody. I see some people who see him more as like a big brother figure, which is funny because I feel like this is two spectrums. Either you're friend-zoning Silus or you're friend-zoning Raphael. There's two different types of people. Those who friend-zone Silus and those who friend-zone the merman. But yeah, and also his voice acting, oh my god. Like, I know I've talked about the secret times already, but oh my god. Silus's secret times are next level. Oh my god. Like, I want to say the one that's for the paid 4-star that, I forgot the name of it, but it's this paid 4-star memory you can get, and I heard the secret times for that on YouTube because unfortunately I don't have it, and even then I wouldn't want to pay for it because it's too expensive, but oh oh my god. They were not subtle at all about what he was doing, if you know what I mean. Not subtle at all. His voice actor is also just 10 out of 10. This man knows how to make a sultry, just like, I want you tone. And when Silus laughed in the beach, banner or beach event with the bird, like, oh my god, the way he laughed, like, the dokies, man, the dokies. Not only that, but I love Silus's, we don't know too much about Silus because he is he and Caleb are both new additions, and, unfortunately, not too much has happened. Caleb is, I feel, the worst of it because he's just so new. I think he came out like, I want to say January this year, which is crazy to me. But, yeah, Silus, I feel we don't know too much. He's only had, like, other than the base myth of, like, the whole getting to know and falling in love with him one, he only really has one real myth of his true backstory, and we only got like another big hint of his backstory, like in the wedding memory. So, and there is some lore somewhere, I can't find where it is. I think I'm not there yet in the game, but that talks about how he and the main character knew each other as kids, even before Caleb did, which is crazy. Silus's backstory, and at the time of this video, it is only very subtly leaked in the Chinese community that Silus is getting a second proper myth banner, and it has been implied in some areas that it may be fallen angel themed or devil themed or something like that, something with wings, I heard a lot of people say, to explain his crow imagery other than just death, I guess. I don't know. If it comes out, holy shit, you will see me screaming on Twitter, which, by the way, you should follow my social media to see me talk about things like a dork. So, what we know of his dragon myth is Silus is a dragon, and he actually still currently is one. He's just, his blood is much more diluted. So it is implied that like he still has draconic like powers and energy, and that is presumably what his evil actually is. It's just his dragon powers, but he doesn't have the appearance of a dragon anymore because I think his dragon bloodline is just so diluted now. But in the life we know so far, he was a dragon who was discriminated against because dragon, locked away for like 1,000 years, I want to say. I could be switching this up, but locked away for 1,000 years. A girl was then tossed in. This is our main character. They fall in love. They try to, like, you know, break the expectations of dragons. Silus unfortunately loses it when she gets hurt, and she's left with no other choice but to kill him when he goes rabid from, you know, anger of seeing her get hurt. And from there, main character curses him where he's not allowed to die unless it's by her hands. And this makes Silus inadvertently immortal by accident. The other interesting thing is, like Raphael, Raphael remembers everything because he never died. He's been immortal this whole fucking time. But in Silus's case, even though he died, he remembers everything of his past life. It is very heavily implied. He remembers everything, and I think that is so fascinating because, like, unlike all the other guys who either, except Raphael, because remember he is the same person, unlike Zayn, Xavier, and Caleb, who only remember like maybe bits and pieces, or maybe have like the residual like instinctual trauma of it, Silus remembers everything on top of having what is very heavily implied to be like the worst childhood I have ever seen from a character in a game. Like, I'm pretty sure it's heavily implied Silus was some sort of slave as a child, and he and the main character met on what I think might be Xavier's home planet. I'm not sure, because they say Philos, but it doesn't sound like the same Philos that Xavier's from. I don't know. It's weird. And they were forced to fight to death in this arena as like little kids. Like, we're talking maybe 6 to 8 years old, like really fucking young. And Silus helps her escape, where she ends up what we now know as like the planet Lincoln City is on, which might be Earth, I don't know. Silus ends up captured, tortured, pretty much treated like shit up until he escapes at what is implied to be somewhere around 18 to 19 years old, goes to the N109 zone, from there makes a base in an old, like, I want to say, what do they call it, like a Metaflux church, or like a Metaflux zone that's like a church or something. Yeah, that was really interesting. And then from there he kind of builds a name for himself, and basically it's like he takes on this like, oh, you think I'm the bad guy? Well, I'll be the bad guy then, which is very interesting to me. You don't see a lot of characters who face that, just kind of embrace what people think about them. And mind you, he's on a planet that doesn't know anything about his past. They don't know he's a dragon, but I think at this point he's been so hurt that he's just kind of like, okay, I'll just be the bad guy then. That's what people want of me, which is very, very, very interesting. I also like that out of all the guys, I feel like Silus is the most mature in how he handles things, and the most mature when it comes to communication, because unlike all the other guys who don't really want to tell you everything, or kind of give half-truths sometimes, as many secrets as this man keeps, I feel like he is honestly an open book. Like, you ask him, he will tell you. When the main character asks, I don't know when this is, and I don't have a high enough affinity to know when, but when the main character, like, drops hints that she's starting to remember a past that she doesn't understand, Silus is, like, very open about, like, yeah, if you remember more, yeah, this is your past, man. And I think that is so interesting in the fact that maybe it's because he is the oldest. Fun fact, Silus is only a year older than me, which I don't know if I should feel old or young for that. Maybe it's because of his age. I lean more towards him because, like, he's closer to my age, and therefore, like, I guess, closer to my level of maturity. I think it's all very interesting, and one of my least favorite plot lines for anything is lack of communication subplots, and I feel like especially Xavier and Caleb are like the biggest offenders of this, of the lack of communication plot. But Silus, I feel like you say something and he's like, yep, that is a thing. Like if you like if there were crossed emotions or something, or like you misunderstand something and you tell him like, hey, did you actually mean it when you said that, he will straight up be like yes or no about it. It's not playing games about it. I feel like if the main character just asked, Silent would just straight up tell her. Like if she said, hey, have we met before, like I have these memories of us fighting in an arena, he would honestly, I feel like he would probably be like, yeah, we fought in an arena and then you went away. And he does subtly hint at this, I think in his birthday memory, or I want to say the wedding event, but he does hint at it, you know, like, oh, we were two flowers and you were put somewhere else, you know. So he, like I said, he's very honest, and I appreciate the maturity to have open communication, because I think one of the biggest green flags is communication. That and maturity and being a tease, but like in a playful, fun way. I feel like Silus, outside of, you know, motorcycles, because I'm a little scared of those, I feel like Silus is honestly just like such a green flag, man. If he weren't the leader of the biggest mafia syndicate in this entire world, he would be such a green flag, man. Even then, is Onakainis really? No, I mean, I know Onakainis is bad. But yeah, no. A lot of people try to say Silus is dark romance, but honestly, I don't see it, because with dark romance, the main guy has to be somewhat of a jerk in the beginning, and Silus just isn't. Like, yeah, he's a little bit of a jerk, I think, but it's because I don't think he understands that she has memory issues when she's reincarnated. Like, in the beginning, like, when you see the cutscene, you could see, in one of the cutscenes, the guy, I forgot his name, tells Silus like, oh yeah, she's straight up scared of you. Like, you can see in his eyes he's sad. I think in that moment he's like, oh shit, she really doesn't fucking remember me, dude. Overall, other than my yapping, Silus is such a green flag, man. He's over here. And now for the biggest red flag in this game. I say red flag, but honestly I think, you know, a lot of Caleb's red flag behavior comes from an extremely valid place, and honestly, I would personally, in reality, beg this man to go to therapy. This man is trauma riddled, which is funny because he seems like the most happy-go-lucky, you know, very boy next door, very, you know, I'll always, you know, your rock, I'll always be there for you, you know, I'll do anything for you. Happy-go-lucky guy, looks like he waves at people who he doesn't even know, you know, that kind of thing, right? But no, this man is riddled with so much fucking trauma. It's like, and the thing is it's very heavily implied he doesn't remember his past, or I guess future life, because I think Xavier's from the future, and I think Caleb's myth is from the future, so I guess future life, but it's implied like past or future they remember it, so I don't fucking know. But you know, I personally theorize Caleb does not remember his past life or whatever the fuck that is as a cyborg, and he just has the residual like instinctual trauma from it, on top of the extremely traumatic childhood that was being an experiment forever, and watching the only girl he cared for die over and over again in front of him like it was the thing to do. Like, oh my god, no wonder he acts the way he does, because, man, I don't think anybody would be coming back from this shit, man. I do like Caleb a lot, though. I feel like in a lot of more recent stuff, you could tell he's trying to heal from his past, now that the main character's, like, trying to, like, coax him to be better, which is easier said than done when, after the explosion, Ever, you know, put a murder chip in him, which is this chip in his prosthetic arm that, like, if it activates properly, would make him just a killing machine with like no sense of reality. So, you know, the fact that this man is 2 seconds away from brutally murdering everybody in a room, you know, it says a lot. But outside of the chip in his arm that could any minute now turn him into a killing machine, I feel like Caleb is a character you could tell needs a lot of growth, and I feel like he's starting to grow a lot. Compared to his Falling For You story with him and the main character in the attic, to now, which is like the beach event, like you could see he's grown a lot from then, as from someone who is very clearly emotionally immature, severe PTSD, overprotective, like has severe codependency issues. Like you could tell he's starting to like kind of grow from that, and I feel like he needs a lot of, in order to like not be someone who you're like, please go to therapy, like he needs to grow a lot, and I feel like he's very slowly starting to do that. Baby steps, but the man is growing. And I mean development. Unfortunately, I feel like, despite the other guys having some very, very spicy secret times, Caleb's is hard to enjoy because his voice actor is very bad at making a kiss sound. Some people joke it sounds like suction cups, and I'm not gonna lie, it does, and it kind of takes out of the immersion a little bit. But personally, it's kind of growing on me, because I like to think that because Caleb canonically saved himself for the main character, like he doesn't know how to properly kiss or anything, and I think that's kind of adorkable. Personally, I'd love to see more development for Caleb, just to kind of see him, you know, finally grow and like learn to get rid of these bad habits of his. And because one of my favorite things is to see a character with a lot of really bad habits and issues starting to like grow and heal from it, because who doesn't love a story about people healing, am I right? So despite what everyone says, you know, Caleb being a red flag, oh, Caleb's abusive, I don't think Caleb's abusive. I think he's a very broken person who needs just like a lot of therapy and a lot of health and a lot of healing and a lot of growing. I think if he did that, like, Caleb is honestly such a green flag. Like, if you just the level of dedication and love he has for the main character, I think speaks for itself. So for me personally, I actually really like Caleb, despite what everyone says. In reality, this would be a flat no, because you know, he is still a red flag at the end of the day. But you know, I can still love his character. I love his character so much that it surpasses the need for, if he existed in reality, I would beg him to go to therapy. So for me, Caleb is here. So yeah, top 3 is basically the Doctor, the Crow, and the Unholy Stepbro. And there we have it, guys. My Love in Deep Space tier list. I'll probably do this again, honestly, when or if the 6th love interest comes around. We don't know if that's going to actually happen. A lot of people imply it might. I personally don't know. I think it'll be like another year or so before we get the 6th love interest, and even then I'm not too personally excited about it, because the biggest implication seems to be that whoever this guy is someone in Ever, and this company in the game is so fucking evil that, like, it would have to take a lot of character development and a lot of really fucking good writing in order for them to make this guy likable. Especially when he's a foil to Raphael, who is such a likable character. Like, Raphael is so fun, so loving, and because all these guys at the end of the day are foils to one another. Like, Zayn and Caleb are foils to one another. It's a lot of people have done deeper videos on this, but yeah, Zayn is Caleb's foil, and Silus is Xavier's foil, and Raphael doesn't have one. So the assumption would be the 6th love interest is a guy in Ever who has somewhat of a foil to Raphael's issues, which personally won Fear. I think that would be the dark romance everybody's asking for, because like I said, this company in the game has been written to be very fucking evil, so whoever this guy is honestly total villain unless you write him well enough, which I think that's a big task. But yeah, so you guys let me know down below what you think of my tier list. If you guys, who you guys think is the best guy in the game. As you can see here, the best guy in the game for me is Silus, but I'm curious who everyone's favorite is. I know a lot of people have a lot of different reasons for why they like a guy. I'm curious to know who your favorite is and who your least favorite is. So, as always, let me know down below. And be sure to let me know if you want another tier list like this. I love doing these videos. They're unscripted and they kind of have a nice little filler for me, so I don't fry my brain, because I've been working on a lot of really big projects lately that I've left my brain feeling like it's a fried egg at the end of it. So, yeah. As always, let me know down below what you think. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. And if any old or new subs would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with links to all of my social media tabs. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something with some like-minded people, I have a fan server link down below. See you next time!